Here's how the United States tried to crush the Chinese economy, but the United States has failed. China is the greatest national threat to the United States because China is probably the only country in the world that can wipe out the United States' status as the global reserve currency. It has everything it needs. It has a huge population, it has a talented population, and geographically, it's large enough to compete with the United States. That's why when you look at this chart, it's a matter of time before China overtakes the United States. But the United States doesn't simply want to crush the Chinese economy, but rather the United States wants to turn China into a source of economic growth for the United States, just like the United States did with Japan. These two countries have two different economic models. The United States has the global reserve currency. So the United States knows that it's safe. No matter what happens, capital will always fly back to the United States. There are rich people all across the globe, and rich people have one thing in mind. How do I preserve my wealth? And how do I make more money? In fact, you have so many people across the globe who want to become rich. And if you want to become rich, then the United States is the best place to do that. In fact, the US stock market is by far the greatest place to start building wealth. You can start with as little as $1, and you can end up with billions of dollars. So the United States knows that capital will fly to the United States, which is why the US GDP will always grow. Well, China has a completely different economic model. They know that the only way for them to grow their economy is to become the global factory in the world. Nobody is going to take their money that they have earned with their blood and sweat and just go and invest it in China. No sane person ever is going to do that. Some rich people might invest some money in China, but that's not literally the economic model that China knows that it can rely on. So China is like, we have all these people, we have all of these resources. Why don't we simply start manufacturing everything the world needs? And the world will simply buy it, and we are going to make a lot of money, and we are going to use that money to build our entire economy. So in the long run, the United States knows that China can actually build the global reserve currency when they build the world's greatest economy. They have the population and they have the geography. Instead of crushing the Chinese economy, why don't we simply turn China into Japan 2.0? If you look at the Japanese economy, it almost overtook the United States back in the days. But since then, the economy is stagnating. And that's because the United States forced Japan to actually have a strong currency and face deflation. That deflation slowed down the GDP, and Japan is basically a huge buyer of the US debt. If it wasn't for the deflation in Japan that happened since 1970s, so much US debt wouldn't be purchased. Trillions of dollars of US debt is being purchased because Japan is having a deflation. Here's how the system works. If you take any other currency other than the United States, they're going to grow their economy through manufacturing. You're a very poor country, and if you want to become a rich country, let's say that your economy was devastated after World War II, or let's say that you recently started your economic growth. The easiest way for you to build your economy is to start manufacturing things cheaper than other nations, because your competitive advantage is because you have very cheap labor. So in ideal scenario, you can manufacture cheap things much cheaper than other major economies, such as the United States, Germany, or the UK. When you do that and you start selling things all across the globe, you are going to have a very strong currency. Because when you're selling your products to other nations, for them to buy your product, they're going to buy your currency. That huge demand for your currency is going to make your currency very strong. Your GDP over time is going to become very strong. When your currency is so strong, suddenly the cost of labor in your country is going to be a lot more expensive, which means that you no longer can actually sell cheap things to the rest of the world. Your exports are going to become a lot more expensive, which means that you no longer have that competitive advantage and your economy will start to slow down. Now, at this point, you have to become very creative. You have to develop other technologies. You have to come up with something that is going to revolutionize your economy so that your GDP will continue to grow. This is almost impossible to do for small countries. which is why if you don't successfully do that, it is going to lead to a deflation and your GDP is going to slow down. You no longer grow your economy because of exports, your currency is extremely strong, and people no longer going to see their wages grow. When they don't see their wages grow, prices slowly start to go down. When prices start to go down, people have this mentality, why would I buy this thing today when the price of this thing is going to plummet? If you see that house prices are going down, will you buy a house or you will wait for another year for the price to drop further? Of course, you're going to wait for another year. And some people say, no, I'm not going to do that. I will actually buy houses if the price of the house is going to go down. Well, let's go back to 2008 financial crisis. When house prices plummeted, most people, especially the average people, they did not buy houses. They started selling their houses when they saw that house prices are collapsing. That is basically what happens in most of the economies because that is the mentality that people have. But the US economy doesn't grow like that. The United States built its economy through the exact same way. It grew its economy through manufacturing stuff. But then when the United States had a very strong currency, naturally exports became extremely expensive, which is why you can see that many other nations beat the United States at a lot of manufacturing stuff, such as China, Mexico, Vietnam. The United States simply cannot compete on cost with many other nations. When it comes to high technology, the United States still has the capability to compete. But when it comes to cheap manufacturing, like manufacturing pens, manufacturing dolls, manufacturing cheap stuff, it is almost impossible for the United States to compete with other nations. So naturally, you would think that the US economy is supposed to slow down here, right? But no, that is not going to happen to the United States because the United States has the global reserve currency. And that means that capital will be flying back to the United States to grow the US GDP. Even if the cost of labor in the United States is so expensive and you can't manufacture these pens in the United States, you have across the globe rich people who want to make more money. They will invest their money in the US stock market. So as long as capital keeps flying back to the United States, you're almost guaranteed to have a growth in GDP. Because what is a GDP growth at the end of the day? It is spending plus government spending plus investments plus net exports. And because there are different kind of investments, a lot of investors would prefer to invest in debt because that is the guaranteed return. And if you're investing in debt, then you're loaning your money to the US government. US government spends that money one way or another, which leads to economic growth. But because there is so much capital in the United States, you can actually expect more innovation in the United States. So that's why you see so much great technologies being built in the United States. That's why AI is happening in the United States. That's why the .com revolution happened in the United States. And I can go on and on with more examples. When more innovations happen in the US, the GDP starts to grow even farther in the United States. But this case is almost impossible in other nations because they don't have the global reserve currency. So instead of their GDP to keep growing when their economy have actually stagnated, they're going to face deflation instead of that. And that is why in this economy, it is almost impossible for any nation to compete with the United States. So if you literally just pull out the data and you look at the GDP of the largest economies in the world, you will see that countries such as Germany, Japan, the UK, or France, they almost overtook the United States at a certain point. But since 1990s or 2000s, all of these economies are stagnating. They literally have not a single chance to compete with the United States. Why? Because all of these nations have achieved a certain level of economic growth. After that, because you don't have the global reserve currency, you're going to stagnate. People got rich in your country, and guess what they will do? They will invest in the United States. Your pension fund needs to receive higher rates because it needs to take care of all of these people who are supposed to receive pensions. Where they will invest that money? In the United States. And so on and so forth. The only country that did not actually follow this path was China. China did not do that because it kept its currency extremely weak to keep manufacturing. And that's why the Chinese economy outperformed everyone else and was on the way to actually overtake the United States. And of course, the US economy under this system will always continue to grow. So what is the plan to stop the Chinese economy? First of all, we want to accuse China of currency manipulation. We want to tell China that your currency is getting stronger, so you're supposed to fall into this middle income trap. But what are you doing instead? You are manipulating your currency and you're making your currency weaker. That is not fair. You're not playing by the rules. And because of that, your GDP keeps growing and your goods are much more competitive globally, instead of your goods becoming much more expensive so that you cannot compete on prices globally. So China is defying the rules and it's manipulating its currency. If China stops manipulating its currency is going to become very strong. And that means that the economy in China is going to slow down and China will fall into this middle income trap. And if that happens, suddenly you will see that maybe deflation is going to kick in into the country. Deflation means that prices will start falling down because the economy is no longer growing. People are making a lot of money, but their real incomes aren't growing. Real businesses are no longer growing. So businesses will start cutting prices in order to attract more buyers. When prices begin to fall, that means that people will actually wait for prices to fall further. When prices are falling down, then the GDP is falling down. And over time, people will simply stop spending because prices continuously keep falling down. And the GDP over time will go to the bare minimum. And that means that you have to artificially create inflation in your country. And how you can do that? By printing money. Here's the problem. If you print too much money, it can actually make your currency absolutely worthless. But here is a great idea for you. Here is the best business model that you can possibly choose. You can print as much money as you want. You can use this money, this Chinese currency, and convert them to the US dollars and buy the US debt. And you will be receiving interest. And as long as your currency is weaker than the US dollar, you will be receiving a real income. So you basically can make money out of nothing. That's what we call a carry trade. But the United States benefits because you keep buying the US debt and a continuous flow of capital goes from China to the United States. And as long as that money is being spent in the United States, the US GDP continues to grow. Well, yeah, you are going to make money as well as China, but your GDP is not going to grow as fast as it was in the past. In fact, your GDP can even stagnate like it happened, for example, with Japan since 1990s. So the United States wanted to turn China into a source of infinite debt. Since the carry trade started in Japan, Japan could possibly, and other entities through Japan, purchased about $6 trillion of the US debt. And now imagine if China was turned into Japan 2.0. Imagine how many more trillions of dollars of the US debt was possible to buy through this system. But China obviously refused this system. But wait a minute, the United States is still right. It is not the fault of the United States that China is manipulating its currency. So we cannot possibly accuse the United States of trying to crush the Chinese economy. Here's the problem. The United States also manipulates its currency and no one cares about that. Let me give you a few examples. The US manipulated its currency in 1934. Then it manipulated its currency in 1971 when it abandoned the gold standard. Then the United States manipulated its currency in 1986. It basically got all the major economies into one room and told them, listen, from now onwards, we are going to devalue the value of the dollar by 30%. The United States manipulated the value of the currency between 2008 and 2018 through quantitative easing. Quantitative easing is basically printing money. We don't actually call that as currency manipulation, but if you think about that, what is the currency manipulation? You're basically manipulating the value of the currency. So if you're doing quantitative easing, which is massively increasing the amount of dollars in the economy, you're basically devaluing the value of the dollar. Yes, we don't call that currency manipulation, but it is indirect currency manipulation. It is the exact same thing as China does, for example, with its currency. Then the United States manipulated the currency in 2020 by printing trillions of dollars. So the United States is manipulating its currency, and yet at the same time is accusing China of currency manipulation, because every single country would do currency manipulation when it's in the benefit and the advantage of that country. If it helps the United States, the US would do that. But when it helps China and they do that, then we can easily accuse them of currency manipulation. Why? Because we want to turn China into a source of economic growth for the United States. When this didn't work out, then the United States started an economic war against China. We started imposing tariffs on China, we created chaos and now war. The biggest loser out of the war in Iran directly is going to be China, because China relies on the oil that comes from Middle East. Without that oil, China is going to be bankrupt. Secondly, unlike the United States, China does not have the capacity to absorb high oil prices. Low oil prices will primarily benefit China. Why? Because China is the global factory of the world, and factories need a lot of energy. Yes, it is going to hurt Americans, it is going to hurt the American economy, but it is going to hurt much more China than the United States. So when we couldn't defeat China economically, now it's time to take things to a completely different level. And when there is economic war across the globe, more capital will be flying back to the United States, even from China. When you see that high energy prices are crushing Chinese businesses, a lot of Chinese businesses would want to bring their capital to the United States because this is the best place to preserve that wealth and grow that wealth. And that means that the only way for anybody to win in this economy is to become an investor. There is no way you can actually make a lot of money in this economy without actually investing your money. And if you want a step-by-step strategy on how to make your first $1 million in the stock market, then join the Investing Academy. The link is going to be in the description of this video.